Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minion with me tonight is Useless.
Hello, how goes it?
The still gray zone person with me tonight is JenTMaxi.
Hello.
And I think this is probably the last week that you're gray zone.
Yep.
Because from the sounds of it, the scheduling change will take place on the 14th, at least hopefully. There might be an interruption due to unforeseen circumstances, but at the moment it seems like it's going to be the 14th. The one-ton hammer will be taking over Wednesdays. Prospero has already stepped down from being the scheduled weekly Thursday keeper, so Thursdays are wild card Thursdays. And I will be the permanent Friday keeper. So we will no longer have wildcard Friday. That'll be now Thursday. I'll no longer be Wednesday. I'll be Friday. And our very first keeper, the one-ton hammer, will be returning as a scheduled weekly keeper, doing his own sort of show with JenTMaxi and Terry Diamantis on Wednesdays.
Should be a fun show.
Yes.
Yep. So I've been prefacing every show with that. Like I said, it looks like it might start next week. It should start next week. If you tune in and I'm still here, you know that something fucked up happened and it was delayed.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's going to be the schedule from next week on. One-ton hammer Wednesdays, wild card Thursdays, and Sanguine Fridays. So, how are both of you doing tonight?
Man, alive and kicking.
I'm
That's good to hear.
I'm good. Getting some practice in before next week. So.
Yep. And Useless, you said that you had something that you wanted to go off about at the start.
I got an argument on Twitter yesterday about disabilities. About if you're on social security disability and you get married and your spouse makes so much money, you lose it. And to me, that's an okay thing because you don't need it anymore. And it's a huge argument over it for no reason because it's stupid. Well, this is a hot issue for me though too, disability, because I'm disabled myself. So
there is a reason for it. It's just not a very good reason or a reason that should be encouraged.
Yeah.
Because the reason is that they feel like they're owed that money.
Yeah, they're entitled to it or they deserve it because they're broken.
Yeah, rather than it being something that, hey, we realize that shit's kind of fucked up for you, and you can't really do much about that. You need money in order to survive. We're going to cover you for the time being, which is what disability is. It's the government going, shit's hard for you. We're going to help you out while you need the help.
And you only get $12,000 a year to begin with anyway. So it's bare minimum. It's bare minimum. It sucks to allow bare minimum. It's horrible. I've been there several times. So
yeah, and if we were a bit more restrictive in what sort of things could qualify, we would probably be able to do a shit ton more. But
the main
currently,
problem is people abuse it.
Yeah, it's people abuse it, and currently every Tom, Dick, and Harry can do something in order to become a recipient. I mean, for fuck's sake, we give it to the morbidly obese that ate themselves to the point that they can't walk.
Yeah.
That is not something that should have ever been encouraged. That is something that everyone should have gone, okay, maybe if this is an entirely self-brought upon issue.
Well, even if it's not, the way that it's handled is actually killing more people than it's helping.
Yep.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it really goes back to the mental health.
Yep.
Care situation, because those people, honestly, and I'm saying this from a personal perspective, because my brother is in that boat. He honestly should be in a home where he's got professionals helping him, who actually gang up on him in a professional way to get him to do what he's supposed to do. Because I have no authority over him.
Yep, and you see the problem is that we got, at least in the States, I'm not sure if Canada did this as well, but the States, we used to have a rather large state institution system, which were the asylums. Some of them were really shit. Some of them were really good at certain points and then became shit. What happened was that, much like with a lot of different things, you can see this happen with schools, you can see this happen with prisons, you can see this happen with a bunch of different institutions. The number of people that were being put into these systems was increasing. The number of staff that you had working at these facilities was at best remaining the same.
A skeleton crew.
Which, when you had fewer people, that wasn't a skeleton crew. That was a decent-sized staff. But now that you've increased the size of the population by 1.5, it's now suddenly a skeleton crew, and really, it is not even all the bones of a skeleton crew. You have the right leg and all its bones. You have some of the rib cage. You have a bit of the spine. You have a couple phalanges and one hand that is most of the way full. You're missing one of the forearm bones in the right arm. The left arm isn't even fucking there. And you have the humerus and sections of the skull. And you're going, yep, that's enough to run this. No, it's not. You need to increase the staffing, and you also need to make sure that as you're trying to increase the staffing, you don't drop the requirements. You don't drop standards, because this is something I've said many times. It happened in the prison system and is still happening in the prison system, and it pisses me off that it's still happening in the prison system. Because I worked as a correction officer. Most of the people that I worked with were fucking amazing. We just didn't have enough. And the state, rather than doing what they should do, which, if you're having trouble staffing a job, this goes for any industry, state, or private industry. If you're having problems staffing a job, that means that you need to increase the attractiveness of that job. Now, you guys might ask, how do you increase the attractiveness of a job?
You pay better.
You pay better. You give better benefits. Because there's a certain point where if the pay reaches a certain point and the benefits reach a certain point, that people will start looking at that job going, okay, yeah, the actual job kind of sucks, but I can embrace the suck for that.
Well, Sanguine, did you see that news article of that female correction officer?
I busted having sex. Crap up.
Say again?
I didn't take it.
Okay, so there was an article a couple days ago about a female corrections article. She was a female corrections officer. She got caught having sex with.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess one of the prisoners was her boyfriend, and they were recorded doing it, and
in the
it
open.
Open, so it got shared around. And I was like, you know what? I bet you the whole recording thing was probably meant to make them money in the first place. I bet you anything there's a GoFundMe or something for it somewhere.
But she wasn't bad looking, though. So.
That's what I mean.
See, the thing is that when I worked in corrections, and I worked there for about a bit less than 2 years, because I started the job when I moved up to the area that I'm in, and then I found out there was a lab hiring, and I was bio major, so fuck yeah, I get to use my degree. And I went to being a lab tech. But when I was working at the prison, about once a month, there would be a female correction officer walked and locked. And what I mean by walked and locked is they were escorted out of the prison and locked out of the prison for sucking and fucking.
Yeah.
Or for smuggling. Or for sucking, fucking, and smuggling. The thing that pissed me off the most about this was the DA for the area had made it quite clear, despite it being in the books, that all sex in prison is rape, and every correction officer that is caught having sex with an offender will be arrested and tried, and every correction officer caught smuggling will be arrested and tried, and the book will be fucking thrown at them, as it should be in that instance. The DA had made it quite clear that, yeah, he wouldn't charge female corrections officers. So they were sucking, fucking, and smuggling. I'm not going to break up the happy couple. And it was literally about once a month we would have someone walked and locked for that. So we didn't have enough people. We still had some really just absolutely fucking amazing, I'm talking salt of the fucking earth people working there. Pretty much everyone on my shift. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But we were too thin on the ground, and they kept on lowering standards to try to get more people in. Lowering standards does not fix the issue. Lowering standards dials the issue up to fucking 27.
Yep.
Because now you're not catching people and preventing them from going into the job that had no fucking purpose going into the job. There were people that literally, the first time that we would end up working with them, all of us in the back of our mind would be going, they're going to blow someone. Or they're already dirty. Or they're just a fucking nutcase and they're going to get someone hurt. Either themselves or someone else.
I mean, I can do that job, though.
The vast majority of people probably can't do that job.
Yeah.
The thing is that there's a good number of people that could do that job that they won't do that job for that pay.
Yeah. It's not worth risking your safety over, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it puts everyone in danger when that happens, because it puts the offenders in danger. If you have a fucking nut job that gets into corrections, that puts them at danger. If you have someone that's on a complete power trip, that puts them at danger. Also puts all the people that work with them in danger, because correction officers aren't seen as individuals all the time by the offenders at the prison.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they're seen as one collective with a hive mind. So if a correction officer fucked them over, all correction officers fucked them over. And when you end up having to deal with someone like that, you kind of have to work in order to go, look, you fucking know me. I deal everyone honest. I don't fuck people over out of the blue. Don't put that shit on me, and I won't put shit on you that the other offenders do. We have an agreement. Both of us are fucking individuals. We act like fucking individuals to each other. Understood. Yeah. And if you're able to put in the time and you're of the proper moral character, and you can most of the time get them to go, okay, officer, if you fuck me over, though, I'm not going to fuck you over. So until such time as that happens, don't assume I am.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can actually de-escalate. And work things over. And we had the problem in insane asylums where people would go to the job because they had this power trip fantasy that they wanted to do, and they realized that the institutions were understaffed. They weren't weeding out those sorts of people. And really, if one of the nutters claimed that they had been doing something to them, it's really easy going, they're delusional. So shit just kept on getting worse. And rather than looking at the problem and going, okay, we have a problem, we need to fix it, how can we fix it? They went, we have a problem, get rid of the entire system, just throw it all out, get rid of it, nothing stays. So now it fucked over prisons even more, because prisons have a bunch of psych patients that shouldn't be in prison. They should be in a state institution getting their meds and all that shit dealt with by trained medical professionals 24/7. But no, now they're in prisons and they're causing problems, because a lot of the responses that you have to have when you're dealing with prisoners are some of the worst responses when you're dealing with, for instance, a paranoid schizophrenic. You need to make sure that you go on your rounds and check that no one's doing anything that you shouldn't. No one's sucking fucking, no one's bleeding, no one's hanging themselves, that everyone's shipshape. And if you have a paranoid schizophrenic who feels like everyone's watching them, and every hour on the hour you have 2 officers walk by their cell, look in at them, does that really make them feel like, oh, no, I'm probably just being paranoid?
Nope.
Or does that make them go, I fucking knew it. See, they walk by my cell. They walk by my cell. They're looking at me. They're watching me. They're trying to get me out for something. They're with them, because there's always a them when it comes to paranoid schizophrenics. So it just fucks over the system. What you need to do is actually address the core problem. And this goes back to the initial thing that Useless brought up, the problem with how disability is given out. Because really, we do need that system back, and we need certain conditions on various bits of disability.
Yeah. Well, it's not just disabilities, it's welfare as well, you know?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Because if someone's on disability for psychiatric reasons, it should be part of the whole deal with that is, okay,
Mental help.
We will pay for your mental health. You will go to your mental health.
Yeah.
If you don't go to your mental health,
you don't get no money.
Then this money suddenly stops flowing. So that there's actually an incentive to try to fix the shit that's going wrong. If you still want to have it where people that are morbidly obese get disability, okay. You can get disability, but you have to seek help. Yeah. You have to figure out what the fuck is making you try to eat yourself into the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a friend who was over 800 pounds. He almost died in his 30s.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have massive issues when it comes to food. I think it was fucking Boogie when he was getting his surgeries and whatnot. He was told at one point that he needs to stop eating or else he's going to die. And he was in such a fucked up place mentally at that point that as he was driving home, he was going, there's a McDonald's. I can pull over and just kill myself right there. I can just eat myself until my stomach explodes and no one will have to deal with me anymore. It's a win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
And
really,
that's a fucked up mentality to be in.
Yep.
That's something that people need to have dealt with in order to actually be able to lose weight and to actually change their situation. But with the current setup, there's no incentive for that.
Yeah.
Because if you lose the weight and you're on disability because you're morbidly obese and can't fucking move, well, then you lose your money.
Yeah.
Why would you do something that causes you to lose money?
Why should we keep paying for you to kill yourself slowly?
Yep.
That's what they're doing.
Yep, and that goes back to we're at a point where they feel like they're owed that money. It's been broken away from the original idea, the original intention, which was, hey, you have a problem going on that makes it so that you currently can't support yourself.
Yeah.
That sucks. You aren't able to support yourself. We don't want you to just die. We're going to give you a helping hand until such time as you're able to support yourself again.
Yeah.
So,
not like we're doing the Third Reich or anything. No.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
So, we'll make sure that you don't starve as you're dealing with this issue. You have a medical problem that can be fixed, we'll pay until that medical problem is fixed. You have a medical problem that's just permanent, we'll pay until such time as you're able to support yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. But now people look at it as, that's my money. I'm owed that money.
I'd almost rather that money go back towards supporting like centers for people who have those problems.
Mm-hmm.
Legit, give them the resources to actually give them the help. Because if they actually had a place where, they're separated from the problem, because sometimes it's not just them, it's also the family. Like my family, we're kind of stuck in this cycle with my brother, and it's never ending.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know that as hard as it would be for him, getting him away from us would probably save him a lot faster than what we're doing.
You might have to cut him off, yeah. So,
you know, and a lot of people are like that because they're just because we love him. We can't help it. We can't help it.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
This again to kind of draw a connection to something that I know a bit better. When it came to prisons, there's some really interesting prison programs that are ongoing, or Department of Correction programs that are ongoing, at least in the state that I work in, I think in a number of others.
Mm-hmm.
One of the weirdest is looking at the stats, they realized that one of the things that had a fairly high correlation with someone not coming back into the prison, getting out and fucking staying out, was if one specific person visited them frequently while they were at prison. Can anyone guess what that person was? It was one specific relation.
Mom.
No.
No?
Mom was actually negatively correlated in some of this.
Oh.
There was one that was the strongest correlation between this person visiting and recidivism dropping. It was the grandmother.
Oh. She's
because
out of it, huh?
The mother tends to be a bit too close, and they still have that, my baby didn't do that. It's all misunderstanding type shit, and that doesn't help. The grandmother is typically maternal and close enough that you get a lot of the same connection between the grandmother and the offender as you do between the mother and the offender.
Mm-hmm.
But the grandmother is able to go, now you fucking know that you did some fucked up shit and that got you in here. You're going to knock that shit off, right? I'm not going to have to drag my ass back in here to see you when you get locked up a second time, am I? And it's that.
Mm-hmm.
that ability to not be constantly in the, oh, my poor baby is just getting abused by everything. This is just a massive misunderstanding. You don't know him. He's a sweet child. Which is why in some of the studies, the mother was actually one of the worst people.
If I had done something wrong, my dad would turn me in. So.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain families that if you do something wrong, the parents will turn you in, drop of a hat, no question, because they're going, nope, you fucked up, you know you fucked up.
Yep.
You serve your time, you do your penance, and then, yeah, you're welcome back. But until then, you fucked up. Own up to this shit. But a lot of families, they don't do that.
Yeah.
And the other one that was also rather prone to reduce recidivism is seeing their children. So the prison actually spent money sending out vehicles and shit like that to facilitate grandparents coming in to visit. They sent out reminder cards going, hey, it's been this long since you've seen your grandson.
Yeah.
It would be beneficial if you came back and visited. They would do things in order to encourage those people to come and visit because it reduced recidivism.
Because the prison is supposed to be about reform anyway, not punishment.
Yeah, but, well, it's
Kind of both.
It's supposed to be both. So it is prison. The ideal prison is one that punishes because you fucked up and you need that punishment.
Yeah.
But also gives you tools to reduce the chance that you will fuck up again.
Yeah.
And the prison that I worked for, we did a fuck ton of that. Because we were an education and industry prison. What that means is that we had a massive, fucking massive education department that would teach you everything from welding and woodwork to IT department and beyond. There was someone who was, if I remember correctly, quite literally getting postgraduate level work done through the prison school. They taught everything from people that didn't finish 3rd grade to post-grad work. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So, fuck ton of education through that. Then also work experience by the industry side of things. And it wasn't just, oh yeah, you go and you make license plates. It was...
They learn skill.
Say again?
They learn skills, usable skills sometimes.
Yeah. So, there was an incident that happened that closed down 2 of these sections, but I'm still going to talk about them. The prison had a metal shop and a wood shop. And in the metal shop, you learned welding, cutting, CNC machines, laser etchers, fucking milling methods. You learned everything about how to work fucking metal. You even learned goddamn blacksmithing if you wanted to in the metal shop. There were literally fucking old school anvils and hammers in one section of the shop.
Nice.
And like I said, it went all the way from that to high-tech metal work. And you would get a job in the metal shop after completing the educational requirements, because you'd need to take like the welding class and a couple other classes at the education department before you were allowed to get the job.
And welding is good money too.
Yep. So we would make sure that when you left, you would be able to immediately test for your welding certification. You would be able to immediately test for all the different skills that you acquired while in the prison
Well, I do have a question. Do you believe that once they finish their time, they should get their rights back to vote and all that?
Now,
No?
there's certain crimes that I can see that.
Okay.
Maybe misdemeanors. Sure.
Yeah.
But if you've committed a felony, there's certain rights that you forfeit in that felony.
All right.
And as far as I'm concerned, you forfeited those rights permanently because of your action.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how someone who was arrested for identity theft should never, under any circumstance, be allowed to enter the medical field. You shouldn't be allowed to become an EMT. You shouldn't be allowed to become a paramedic. You shouldn't be allowed to become a nurse, a doctor, or anything else. You shouldn't be allowed to get a job dealing with the paperwork at a hospital or any medical profession.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be allowed to work at a bank.
Can't be trusted, so yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much ID there that's completely understandable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like temptation to repeat and...
Yep, someone who's arrested for elder abuse should never be allowed to work any of those jobs, should never be allowed to work at a SNF.
Yeah.
Same fucking reason. But that doesn't mean that they can't work any job. For instance, there's California prisons, if I remember correctly, train up a certain number of offenders to be firefighters. Now, should they ever be allowed to do house fires? No. Is there a fuck ton of jobs for firefighters that don't deal with residential areas in California? Oh, fuck yes.
Yeah, there are tons of reasons.
Slap those sons of bitches into forest fire mitigation. Get them trained up in how to use all the fire hoses, all that shit, all the different methods. Get them into the forestry.
Yeah.
That's a goddamn godsend for California. Because they have a fuck ton of forest fires. You might notice that due to the fact that they have a fucking wet season and fire season.
I mean, it'd be nice to take the prisoners that have work at water plants, if they have water.
Yep, you can have them work at water plants. You can have them work at a fuck ton of jobs. The thing is that there's certain things that, and according to Snowpilot, that's exactly where those programs do feed the inmates into the wildlife division or wildland division. And that's fantastic. Like I said, there's a bunch of different jobs that you can absolutely train offenders in. There's certain jobs that you should never train offenders in because it is just putting them up to fail.
Well, I'd say a safecracker is a cracking safe professionally,
Yeah, it would be a bit of a bad idea to train up your safe crackers as locksmiths, for instance.
Yeah.
But there's even jobs for legit versions of that.
Yeah.
So, for instance, do you guys know what
lawyer, right?
white hats and black hats are? And yes, I've seen the lockpicking.
Yeah, they do it on hacking too, white hat and black hat.
Yep. So you have white hat and black hat hackers. Black hat hackers are the illegal fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
White hat hackers are the ones that businesses actually go to and say, hey, we just tried to implement a new security system.
Can you hack it?
Can you break into it?
Yeah.
And the white hat hacker will try to break into the system. And then he'll come back and go, yep, here's where your vulnerability was. I was able to break through by XYZ.
Yep, like Terry's comment.
And to a certain degree, kind of, because the white hats make the black hats have to work harder. And we see this with a lot of different... There's a fuck ton of completely legal professional criminal activity.
Yeah.
So a really good example of that as well is one that there was a fucking movie made out of. So a fair chunk of people still know about it. You guys remember that DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can?
Oh, yeah. That one, yeah. That's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. It was made, probably now 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, the early 2000s, or the mid.
Yeah. So the premise of that movie was it was a true story, or at least based on a true story. They embellished here and there, if I remember correctly.
They always do.
But it was a guy who was this ridiculous forger. And he led the FBI and several other groups, including the Secret Service, because for people that forget, the primary job of the Secret... Well, let me ask this. Do you guys know what the primary job of the Secret Service is?
Yeah, kind of.
What is the primary job of the Secret Service?
To protect the treasury?
Close. Much closer than most people get.
Okay.
Jen, do you have a...
Well, I thought it was like either that or security. Like I thought it had to do with like, yeah.
The primary job of the Secret Service is actually to protect the integrity of the money.
Okay. Yeah. That's
and what that means is that when you're dealing with people that are forging cash, they're actually the law enforcement group that gets the spearhead on that operation.
Well, it makes sense because our money is further regulated, so...
Yep. And that was the original purpose, and that is still their chief mission, is to ensure the... Well, I just had the word, and now I'm blanking on it. But it's to ensure that the currency remains strong, in that it is not being printed off by Joe Schmo from Idaho in his basement.
Yeah. That's what gives its value if it's limited,
So he led the FBI, the Secret Service, and a couple other agencies on a merry little chase, and then was finally caught. And do you guys know what happened to him?
I think they gave him a job, didn't they?
They went, okay, we've caught you. You're going to serve time, but we'll make a deal with you. If while you're serving your sentence, you allow us to consult with you, we'll make sure that you're kept in a better condition, in a cushier cell, you get more shit, we'll pay you, and you'll have a shorter sentence. And once you get out, you can walk into a consulting job for us.
Yeah.
If you ever violate this, if you ever start doing this shit again, we will bury you in a hole that no one will ever find you.
Yeah.
And he went, okay, I can do that. And he became a consultant. And he got paid rather well being a consultant. We do this all the time.
Yeah, the CI's criminal consultants.
Yep. There's people that are bank security experts, that the way that they became bank security experts was they knocked over bank after bank after bank, got arrested, got out, and then started going to banks going, hey,
I robbed you.
I robbed you guys, or I robbed one of your competitors. I can help you beef up security to make sure that my techniques won't work for your bank anymore.
Yeah.
And banks started going, sure, we're going to watch you like a fucking hawk, but yeah. You want to tell us how to make it so that we can't get knocked over? Yeah. Fuck yeah. Do it. We do that all the time with criminals.
Yeah, it's taking a bad decision. They can sort it out of it,
Yep. And like I said, the way that you rehabilitate criminals, you can't really truly rehabilitate criminals criminals have to want to be rehabilitated.
Well, for anything, mental illness and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
fixed.
the way that you do it is you give them other options.
Yeah.
And you give them other options that are at least as attractive as being a criminal. Now, you will still have a high recidivism rate. The state that I work in prisons in had a exceptionally high recidivism rate for people that made it to getting into prisons, but that somewhat is a lie on paper.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that the state that I worked in tried fucking everything to keep people out of prisons. Fucking everything. Unless you were arrested for rape or murder, and then it was effectively, yep, straight to prison with you. If you were arrested for charges shy of that, they would try fucking everything. If you were arrested for drunk driving, you'd be sent to program after program after program after program. And it would be like the fucking 6th or 7th time that you got arrested for it that they would finally go,
fuck it.
Fuck it, you weren't learning this shit. You're going to prison now.
Yeah, but they just send it in California. They catch him and release him, you know?
Well, this wasn't catch and release. This was more intelligent than that.
Oh, okay.
This was catch, okay, you're going to be under functional house arrest and under a almost probation-like setting. You're going to have to go to these programs, and we'll make sure that you attend these programs. If you fail to attend these programs, then your punishment will be kicked up.
This makes sense for light crimes. But heavy crimes, I don't think so.
And that was the thing. It was for pretty much all the light crimes. So minor drug offenses were treated that way.
Yeah.
Even some not so minor drug offenses were treated that way.
Probably petty assaults too, probably.
Yep. Things that didn't end in murder were treated that way. And things that didn't end in rape were treated that way. Pretty much every other crime, you had chances.
Yeah.
You had chances before you got into the prison. So the state kind of had a high recidivism rate when you looked at the offenders that went to prison and then went back to prison later on. Because these were already people that kind of demonstrated that they weren't fucking going to change.
Yeah.
Because why would you assume that someone's going to change on the 17th time that you've given them a chance when they haven't on all the fucking other times?
Well, have you seen that My Name is Earl episode where he helped a guy in prison?
I don't believe so.
The guy kept going back to prison over and over again because he did not like himself. So Earl, he went there and got him back in Boy Scouts. So when he left prison again, he saw this type of wearing his Boy Scout uniform. Mm-hmm. And he felt better. Oh, God damn it. What's wrong with me?
You're fine.
No, I'm stuttering. Sorry. He felt better about seeing him in his uniform. So he did commit more crimes.
Structure that he needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what a fair number of people it ends up being. They get, people use the term institutionalized.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people blame for, like, Manson. Manson's a famous case of, he became institutionalized. And it isn't complete horseshit. I think that people use that too often.
Yeah.
But there is something to that. You see it not just with prisons, but you see it with people that were in the military.
Yeah.
Quite often as well. Because you'll see it all the time where someone's in the military and they're built like a brick shit house. Just nice and svelte.
Yeah.
some solid muscle on them. And then they get out of the military. And within a year and a half, 2 years, they have a rather ponderous beer gut.
Yep. Well, they gave up working out like I did.
Yep. And they aren't, while they were in the military, their life was together, everything was going great. They're out of the military and things are going to shit.
Yeah. Food's comfort.
Because, well, it's not just food's comfort, but it becomes, they got so used to having a set schedule.
Yeah.
Having the, yep, I wake up at this time, I go for a run because I have to fucking go for a run at that time. I go to chow, I eat my chow, then I go do my job for this time to this time. Then after that, I go to chow, I go back to my job, I leave my job, I go for another run because I fucking have to. I do X, Y, and Z. I get 15 minutes at the end of the day to kind of unwind. I get this amount of time to do this. I go to my shower, and then I go to sleep, and I do it again the next day. And they just get so used to that schedule that when that schedule is broken, and when their food intake is not rigorously monitored, it becomes a, fuck it, I don't have to run.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I can just relax. I can eat.
Yeah.
I can watch TV. I can play games, and they do that.
Candy.
Yeah,
you can enjoy life again. So.
And they just kind of go mental for a little bit. And then most of them kind of come back to their senses and they're good to go. You see the same thing with a lot of kids when they first get out of high school. There's a reason why a shit ton of people had the freshman 15 and the post-high school weight gain, because they were doing shit when they were in high school. They played sports. They went to classes. They had to wake up at a specific time. They had to do this. They were socializing. And then they get out of school and they don't really have anything that they need to do.
Yeah. Well, see, I graduated high school early, so I could get a head start on the job market.
Yeah.
It was a smart thing to do. So, because in the summer, there's no jobs to be found because everybody's looking for one. So,
yep.
You do it in the winter, it's great. So,
yeah. But there's all kinds of examples where you see that happen, where there's people get too content with their schedule, and then their schedule is no longer imposed from the outside.
Yeah.
So they just go fucking mental. And
well, not used to not having structure, so
Yep. And that's functionally what happens with people that get institutionalized. It's that they get so used to, yep, wake up is at this time, sleep is at this time, my job starts on these days at this time, and I have to go there because my cell door pops open.
Yeah. But schedules do, bring help you out with mental health stuff too.
Oh yeah, it's one thing I miss about my job.
If you're able to self-impose a schedule, it fixes a lot of that. So in the My Name is Earl episode that you were just talking about, that's kind of what the Boy Scouts ended up doing for that guy, it sounds like, where it regimented his life again.
Yeah, it made him feel good about himself, So that's what you need sometimes. You need that boost in self-confidence. This really comes down to self-confidence can wreck you or, make you.
Yep. I got challenged by Unholy Reaper to start doing crab walks because I've been trying to lose weight. And I'm at the point where I'm no longer really doing the diet part. It's mostly just the exercise part. He's like, so you got to start toning. I'm like, oh, you're talking to a military guy. Oh, he's not the first military guy I've been talking to anyway. But he's like, well, why don't you start off with some crab walks? I'm like, well, I've got this like, it's almost a kilometer-long hill. So I'm like, okay, if I go down and up and then down and up, okay. It takes me about like half an hour to about 40 minutes in total. So, like, fine. I do that about 3 times a week now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Those muscles working.
Yeah.
Now, if you're still trying to lose weight, you also need to make sure that you do add back in the dieting because...
Oh, yes. Yep.
At the very least, make sure that you're using something to properly calculate your calories.
Yes.
Especially if you're burning them exercising, you know.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is like the heat. I didn't do anything last week. Like when it got up to the super duper temperatures, I was like, I'm not that retarded.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just kept low maintenance, and honestly, I didn't eat too much either, just because I didn't want to. Like that kind of heat just kind of kills my appetite too. So I was like, between like low maintenance eating and low maintenance exercise, I was just kind of a little slug in my chair.
Yeah, my meds kill my appetite, so.
That I get. I actually do get that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just always something that a lot of people, they do the diet and completely forget the exercise. And other people do the exercise and completely forget the diet.
No, it has to be both. It really does have to be both. But I still have to take my time with it at this point too, just because like I'm trying to fight with loose skin too. So I know as slowly as I'm going, that's kind of the point. The slower I go, the better it is actually for my skin. And that's actually been a thing. Like I would say, considering I used to be 238 pounds and I'm 151 now. I'm in a size 10, because I have been toning too. So, my skin would be a lot looser if I hadn't done that. I would probably be needing an operation if I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
So,
Though there is always a limit to the elasticity.
Yes.
There, so
there's some stuff I'm always going to have, unless I like win a ridiculous amount of money and just decide to get rid of it. But that's okay though. I mean, what I've got left in certain places, like what I've got on my arms, I'm not really that worried about. At my age, I wouldn't be surprised at seeing somebody my age with something like that. And I've reduced them to such a point that it's actually pretty impressive. So I'm like, pretty good. It's my ass, it's always the butt.
It's the moneymaker.
Oh yeah, so that part's the one that's taking the most time, and I'm actually really grateful for the fact that I don't have thunder thighs in the sense that I'm fat. I have thunder thighs in the sense that I've always walked everywhere. I've never owned a vehicle. Like I have had people drive me places, but in terms of work, I always had to walk to work. I walked home. I walked my groceries home because that's kind of the deal. I worked at a grocery store, so it was like walk my groceries home. Yeah. I walked everywhere. There were times where like my job was 15 minutes away worth of walking, and so I would walk there and then walk home. So between that and being on my feet and actual general labor, my legs are solid. They always have been. So this is really just fine tuning. And yeah, I did realize that I had so many things I could actually still do. Now the fun thing is wondering if I'm still flexible, because I used to be into gymnastics, and so I told my mom, like as a dare, like there's a little field behind their place, and I told her I need supervision just because I'm still old. I'm going to try doing some I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I can do flips, but I can do, I don't know. I'm going to see what I can do.
And this is how JenTMaxi becomes a quadriplegic.
A pretzel? Yeah, yeah, like I said, I do have my mom there. She's close by. My house is close by. My dad's close by. So I'm not. It's a pretty soft field too, so I'm not too worried. And I'm also not retarded, so I know my
Successfully
limits.
does half a flip, and then there's a loud crunch.
Yeah, yeah. But I know what I can still do. So yeah, I figure I'm gonna start off slow at home. Like there's some things I can work up to. Like if I can still do a handstand, then I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely understand the thing about having large thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was a lineman in football.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fucking know large thighs until you start measuring lineman thighs.
Yeah, hiking has never been an issue for me. Like I am legit the type of person who could just walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk until I'm so exhausted that I absolutely have to sit down because I'm going to collapse. And it doesn't even occur to me that I've just done that because I tend to go into a la state when I'm walking.
I do too. I put music on, amuse myself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you just go and it's the same speed the entire time. Your body will just regulate its own speed and you just go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just walked like 4 kilometers. Holy shit. I'm like not far, but like I am far.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, Jason, you're fairly thin, not like ridiculously thin, but just not fat, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of lanky here.
So you're probably what, like a 30, 32, 34
Yep.
waist?
Yep, 34.
Yeah, my thigh alone, one of my thighs is a 30.
Oh, geez. Well, you are a dwarf, so it makes sense. Yep. Well, a giant dwarf.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely understand.
I wasn't trying to pat myself on the back. It was just one of those things that, like, in high school, that wasn't the thing you wanted to have. It really wasn't the style. I'm not glaring at Britney Spears. I'm not one of those kids who, like, 20 years later still has a grudge against her because she was popular. I liked her. I didn't love her because she was overplayed. She was really overplayed. But I didn't hold any resentment towards her. She was just karaoke fun, Yeah. But she was the body type at the time.
No ass.
No ass. So this complete turnaround is just kind of like, oh. So it's just kind of nice at my age to just play with it, and knowing that I can still kind of do that and do it healthily. Like my mom, gosh, she thinks I've lost so much weight. Like I went and got some clothes the other day because that's how I know I've gone down to a size 10. And she just kept getting me like these size 6s. And I'm like, Mom, I know you think I'm starving myself. I know I've lost a lot of weight, but I'm hardly an Ariana Grande, okay?
I've been amazed with how much I've dropped in size. Well, it's weird. Do you also feel when you look at yourself like you haven't dropped size, but then clothes make you go, okay, no, I actually did?
Yes. But there's other little things too, because a lot of the different exercises that I've been doing has been meant to do sculpting. So sometimes I'll be on my bed and I always kind of do little weird stretches before I get up. Like I'm kind of a weird cat in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll do that with my legs, and like, I'll just be like posing in a certain area. I'm like, I definitely know I've lost. That has shifted. That has moved. Like that wasn't like that before. Same with my calves, stuff like that. Because I've been doing different kinds of squats too.
Mm-hmm. You guys might hate me, but I wear the same pant size I wore in high school, so.
That's not. Hey, you know what? That just happens to some guys.
Yeah. So.
Just watch out for your 40s.
Yeah, when I start to get the beer gut,
Yeah, for me, I am now able to wear and button a coat that I haven't been able to since my thinnest in college, which made me go, oh, shit. Yeah, I must have lost a lot of weight. But at the same time, I'm looking at myself going, I don't feel like I've lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Well,
But it's just you constantly see yourself, so the change is incremental.
yeah, it's kind of long hair. All of a sudden, your hair's long. Hey, wait, maybe that happened,
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot in my face too. Like I can't use my. I generally speaking don't like using my face in terms of photo ops in that sense because yes, the rest of me has lost a lot too, but my face is completely different. Like my face, shoulder down, it's a lot harder to tell, and I don't think that's fair.
I hope you realize that you just made it sound like you're either a cleavage or ass cam girl with that description. I don't like using my face in a lot of things. Makes it sound like I prefer using other things.
She worked for Sora,
Yeah. Believe
Can
me,
we
no,
just get a downward shot straight at the cleavage? That works better for me.
No, I made that
screen,
mistake. I made that mistake a lot long ago with an ex of mine. In terms of sending him photos, I made it a point not to put my face in that.
Nice.
And I stand by that because it was just like, I like this guy, I trust him, but at the same time, what if like down the line he's a drunk,
Mm-hmm.
That was why I broke up with him, is because he was kind of a drunk, and I was like, I could see him getting drunk and then accidentally sharing it with somebody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't share pictures. Because women don't want pictures of that. So.
Well, at the same time, when you like a person, your brain doesn't think, or you do think, but you just hope that there's that faith of trust, and
yeah, you're hoping for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have no proof that he's actually done anything like that. It was the way he talked about it made it sound like he was maybe sharing it with people, and I was like, were you drunk? Just so you know, you're not getting any more of those.
I'm trying to remember the line from Buffy ages ago. It was something along the lines of, yeah, love makes you do the wacky.
It really does. I don't regret it either, because I like I said, I did think about it enough not to put my face in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by that. If you're not making money off of it, ladies, don't put your face in it. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise try to make some money off of it, because it's going to be on the internet forever anyway. Sorry, not to be a bad influence. I'm just like, if you're going to do something that stupid, at least explain it a little bit.
Yeah, I would also recommend just, even if you are doing it for money, still don't stick your face in it unless you're going, yeah, I'm never going to have an actual job.
And if you actually do well with it, ladies, invest it. Honest to God, just invest it. With the amount of money that some of these ladies rack in, if they would just take some business courses, anything, even just hiring someone to help you with it. I know that that's a stretch because then you have to trust somebody.
At least pay your taxes,
Yes, well, you should just do that anyway. But yeah, that's what I would have done. Like if I was their age, and that's the thing I did to try to pay for myself, because my girls' generation, we still did stuff to pay for our colleges too. It wasn't as permanent because the technology just wasn't there. But I remember girls who would do that kind of stuff for dances and things like that, and it paid for their college. And
yeah, a lot of strippers do that.
Yeah, and if you're hiring someone and you're worried that, they might try to steal my money, just go to one of the above-board investment brokers and go, okay, I would like someone to manage this, because they're above board and haven't been sued into oblivion for a fucking reason thus far.
It's just that's one of those things that I highly recommend that they do, because when you have your own money, you kind of have your own. You kind of have your own way of deciding what it is that you want to do. You can decide you want to do this business or that business. Obviously you have to put in the work for that kind of thing. But if you have your own money, you're already cutting out a middleman. A lot of middlemen, actually. And that's a lot of things that honest to God, if men could do it, they would do it. In fact, there are some men who are actually trying to do that, and successfully so. You know,
Successful's on a curve there.
it's a niche. It's not, not everybody's doing it, and that makes it a niche. Like they're sorry,
It's still curved because you have to
yes,
say they're doing it successfully compared to the other men.
yes.
It isn't that they're doing it successfully compared to the women. That's
always going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's that, and because women aren't really as honest about their payments. I'm going to be fair with you guys. There are a lot of times where I know women get shit for free that men could probably exploit. And you should, guys. Do it.
I'll tell you, I used to go to gay bars because they buy me drinks.
Yeah, sure. So, why not?
Yeah, there's shit that you don't get as a guy. Most women probably know what it's like to have someone buy them a drink if they've hit bars frequently. Most guys probably don't.
Nope.
I do prefer honesty with it, though. Like, I mean, if you're gonna do that, be honest about it. I mean, even to the point with your relationships. I'm sorry, even if it loses you subs, you're still better off being honest with that kind of crap.
Honesty is usually the best policy.
Yeah,
you can't to do better if you don't tell them they're fucking up.
Yeah, it's just I think it's because most of my education when it comes to dudes came from dudes. Like, I tried doing the magazine stuff, and I would read this kind of thing, and it was just like, this sounds like bullcrap.
Oh, God, the magazine. This is just giving me flashbacks to when my friends and I would look up the worst sex tips from magazines.
Like, some of them were the worst, or sometimes it was just lady advice, that I would get.
Hands down, the two worst bits that we ever found were, if you're trying to spice things up in your relationship, make sure that you use teeth while giving blowjobs. No, that's how you get punched.
Well, some guys like that. So,
if you're trying to spice up your relationship, one quick and easy way to get your man's attention is to tug on his pubic hair.
Ugh.
Have you heard the phrase, you got him by the short and curlies? That's what this is What the fuck is wrong with these people?
I thought you were going to say stick your finger up his butt, but...
No! That at least has some sort of logic and rationale.
Yeah.
There are guys that do enjoy that because the prostate is a thing.
I mean, the teeth thing is one of those things where you tell that to a girl and then she bites. You tell that to a girl who actually has a brain and she realizes, oh, okay, maybe if you just scrape a little bit, don't bite, never ever bite. If you little scrape on the side, some guys like that. It's not meant to be rough. It's meant. I'm sorry that I know this stuff.
And don't treat it like your teeth are fucking cheese graters.
Listen, you get better advice from fucking fan fiction than you do from magazines. I'm just saying.
Well, they have a quota to fill, so.
Now, there's some of the most perverted girls on the planet are the ones who wrote fan fiction. I guarantee you.
But they do weird shit like this. You guys have seen the Gilbert Godfrey reads.
Oh God.
50 Shades, right?
Yeah.
He pulled my tampon out with his teeth. Oh, fuck, I did not need to hear Gilbert Godfrey say that.
He also did the Wappa. But it's like, geez.
Yeah, I did. Wap.
I was thinking about, because you got like commission them, shout out your name. As they
doing that for cameos?
Yeah, they'll do it for my channel.
I think that's the name of the service, Cameos.
I think so. That'd be kind of cool. Or get that Jesus guy. That'd be funny.
I don't know. Look at one of the last important people that did that. It didn't end all that great for PewDiePie.
Yeah, I know. That's what would be funny. The memes, you know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the whole thing about who you get advice from is so many people just flat out fucking lie in their advice.
Well, people have everybody has advice, but a lot of it's incorrect advice, you know.
Oh no, but there's specific advice, and I have no problem when someone gives specific advice that just doesn't apply in this situation.
Yeah.
But then there's advice that is just a flat out lie, where you're going, okay, this isn't specific advice for you, and this isn't applying to... You're just trying to sound nice, aren't you? I don't want you to sound nice in your advice. I want fucking advice that works.
Yeah.
Like, it's a classic example. Well, looks don't really matter. No, to the vast majority of people, looks matter. If you look at someone and you're not going, yeah, that's someone that I could fuck, you probably aren't going to be in a relationship with them.
If I look at somebody and do that nasty, like, nah, that'll be random, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Male or female? He's like, no.
Yeah, which is why some of the best advice that I've heard someone just give out about any sort of dating issue was from just a couple nights ago. Here, let me pull it up because I was actually kind of going, holy shit, she's just laying it all out and telling the fucking truth in a way that was not a fuck you. It was, here's what you actually do. Because, yeah, she started with, let's see. If you're interested in someone, find out if you're the type of person that has the looks that they're interested in. Some people it matters more to than others. Some people have a wide variety of looks that they're interested in. If you are, okay, proceed on, continue looking at this. If not, then yeah, it's not going to work. Just find someone else, because that's dead in the water. It's a no-go. If you aren't attractive to them, it's not that you aren't attractive entirely, because there's a fuck ton of different people out there with different views. You're probably attractive to someone else. So don't immediately go, well, I'm hideous and no one will ever love me. That's horseshit. Someone will probably find you attractive.
Yeah. I mean, I joke about it, but that's not it.
And then she went on to saying, like, after you figure out, are you someone that they could physically be attracted to, then figure out what their love language is. Which you guys are familiar with love languages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Depends on the person.
Yep. It depends on the person. There's, 5, 6 different overarching types that they're sorted into. So the advice was find out the love language and make sure that you're communicating in that love language. Boom, done. That's a good bit of advice. Then it was make sure that you mesh personality-wise. Yeah. If so, fantastic. Continue on to the next step. And she just laid everything out that was honest, didn't bullshit anyone, and was just yep, here's how relationships happen. For anyone that is having trouble, bear this shit in mind, and you'll be able to figure this out. And the one bit of advice that she tacked on top of that was she recommended everyone find someone that's trying to improve themselves, because if they're trying to improve themselves, they'll also encourage you to improve yourself, and won't necessarily be them going, no, you need to improve yourself. It'll just be being around them will make you go, yeah, I have shit that I could work on too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which all of that.
I don't think anybody should stop improving themselves, though.
Yeah,
It should be
exactly.
a constant.
Everyone should constantly be trying to improve themselves. But if you become either too content in life, or you become too, I guess, disheartened by life, then
Well,
it becomes really easy to fall into the, if you're too content, well, everything's going well, why should I change anything? And if everything's going miserably, what's the point? It's all going to fail regardless.
yeah.
You need just that perfect amount of hardship in life that keeps you trying to improve while having the right amount of happiness that you don't get fucked over and just get completely disheartened. That's where the best life is, which is why I always get confused when people try to do the, can you imagine how amazing the world would be if no one had to work for anything? That's fucking hell.
Mm-hmm. That'd be
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah, it is.
Humans are too intelligent for that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd just be too boring. You'd end up miserable.
Believe me, I stay in my house still most of the time, so yeah, you know.
Yeah,
I get bored.
you do everything you possibly can to keep your day busy so that you're
Yeah.
not bored.
I actually bought a greenhouse to start gardening, so
Oh, that's
I got so
awesome.
bored. So
But yeah, can you imagine how amazing the world would be if no one had to fight for anything or work for anything? No, that's hell. That is insanely boring, and I can't imagine that if that were to happen somehow.
it does depend what you're fighting for. If you're fighting to keep a broken relationship alive, then it's pointless.
Oh yeah, but that's where the other things that were talked about come in, where if you meet all of the other things, where your personality meshes with their personality, your personality taste meshes, or your personality meshes with their personality taste, your personality taste meshes with their personality.
Yeah.
You're both physically attractive to each other. You're both trying to work on yourselves, thus kind of driving the other one to work on themselves as well.
Yep.
And you're communicating in the proper love language between each other. The chance of your relationship failing plummets. Because a lot of relationships seem to go bad when it's each partner thinks that they're communicating that they love the other person, and the other person feels like they are unloved.
Yep.
When both of you think that you're communicating it, but neither of you feels it, it means that both of you are communicating in the wrong way.
Well, my last relationship kind of made me jaded to dating, so.
Mm-hmm.
Made me kind of bitter.
That can happen.
Well, you guys know what happened, so, Yeah.
Getting bitter is pointless in the long run, though.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to beat sometimes, though.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm working on it. Trying to get myself in a better state of mind.
Yep.
Well, your garden will help.
Yeah. And the volunteering helps, too. The volunteering helps. Just doing tasks, that helps,
You always need to make sure that you're in a healthy position yourself.
Yep.
That doesn't mean, as seems to be what people are trying to do now, that does not, under any stretch of the imagination, mean that you need to be in a safe place. No, it means that you need to be mentally healthy.
Yeah.
You need to be robust. Let's use that turn of phrase. It's not that you need to make sure that nothing fucks with you. No, it's that you need to make sure that you're able to deal with whatever does fuck with you.
Yeah. Because all you can control is how you react to things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But changing yourself is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. Sometimes it's finding different angles to do it too, because that was for was me a milestone. So I was missing a credit for one of my schoolings.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it seem like I'd have to do a whole GED to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to pay so much money to do it. And it would take so much time out of my life to do it. And so there was just, there was no way I was going to do it. Like, I kept putting it off because I had to work. You know, I had to
It was
survive.
that you picked up one class or some shit?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Not even. It's a one module. I've got 3 more modules to complete. It took me like half an hour to complete the first one. I'm like, well, I could probably complete that in like 2 days. I'm like, so I'm gonna do it. And so I've got it. I already talked to the teacher, and you know, I'm gonna get that done. I might even take a couple more, even though I don't necessarily need to. There was a couple more that I thought might actually look good to just throw on, just to update or to just make sure that I remember how to do things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if it throws me an extra credit, then you know, why not?
Yeah.
Just because nothing else is really working. Like, nothing I've been doing is working, and I really need to keep myself busy. And if it helps me get another job, that's the point, you know. But they do that a lot in our system. Like, you really kind of have to ask questions and then just kind of hammer questions, or, you know, really bring out the soapbox, which I don't really like, but, you know, I guess that's just how it is. But yeah, they do have things that you can do. It's just, you just kind of have to hammer it and keep looking. And that's the thing. Like, when you're kind of down at luck, a lot of times it's hard finding word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Once I'm done this course, I'm gonna post that thing everywhere and just be like, hey, anybody else who's needing to upgrade, do it here because it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I wish I'd known about it a lot sooner, because I would have done it and gotten it over with.
Mm-hmm.
It was just on the list of things I don't have. I don't have my license, which honestly, that was not the big one. But like I said, I've always walked to where I worked, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is that you need to keep
Mm-hmm.
your mind open to things that you might need to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, I was talking, or got into an argument on Twitter because someone was trying to say that there's no jobs available in the U.S. that are worth anything.
Mm.
I would take one that Bloodwing was crying about. Like, he was looking for somebody for a smoke shop, but I'm like, listen, I would happily take that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I could do that work still.
easy, extra shifts and all.
Yep. And the thing that I was saying in response to this was, no, that's bullshit. There's a lot of jobs
Mm-hmm.
for pretty much everything. The problem is that there's high demand jobs and there's high demand areas.
Yeah.
Then there's low demand jobs and low demand areas. You can find high demand jobs in low demand areas. You can find low demand jobs in high demand areas. You will not find high demand jobs in high demand areas that are just right for you to walk into, because both those things being high demand means you have a fuck ton of people that want to live there and a fuck ton of people that want to do that job, so the competition for that job is going to be fierce. You can also find low demand jobs in low demand areas, because of fucking course you can. So if you're in an area where you want to live in that area, it's a high demand area, so you want to live there and you aren't really picky about what job you take, look for one of the low demand, because low demand doesn't necessarily mean low pay. Correction officers, not a desirable job. As someone who worked as a correction officer, there are not a lot of people that are chomping at the bit to get into corrections.
Oh yeah, same with security work. That's a boring job. It has a 99 turnover rate.
Yep,
and it's dangerous, and it can be dangerous.
Yep, with corrections, it's also one of the jobs that has the highest suicide rate.
Oh, jeez.
But if you're just worrying about a paycheck and you're willing to put up with shit, it isn't the best paycheck, but it's a fuck ton better than a lot of others.
Yeah,
because
a paycheck to no paycheck.
Yeah, entry level corrections. So CO1 and CO2, first couple steps of CO2 is what I'd consider entry level corrections. Yeah, you're making somewhere between 43 and 46,000 median. So that's a decent fucking healthy pay. It's not amazing, but it's a decent goddamn pay.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes up from that. Because the longer you stay in corrections, the more step increases you get. You also become qualified to apply for promotions. And promotions, of course, come with a higher pay. Step increases, of course, come with a higher pay. So it's a nice, consistent paycheck that you know is going to increase every year that you work there. And it's not only going to increase by your step increase, but pretty much every corrections job gets a cost of living increase as well. So you get your step increase, and then you also get, normally it's 2 to 3% tacked on top of that.
Yeah.
As a cost of living adjustment.
You know what they say? It's easier to find a job when you have a job, too.
Yep.
Because employers like to sell employees for other companies. So.
Yep. So get that job, work that job, look for other jobs while you're working that job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you can trade up, trade up. If you do that consistently, you end up in a really good place. But shit, even if you stay a correction officer, you make a decent amount, and there were correctional or CO3s, so sergeants at the prison, that handedly out-earned the fucking warden of the prison while I was working with.
Wow.
Because
that long?
They were topped out CO3s that then also pulled a decent amount of OT.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
They were making a fairly healthy 6 figures.
Nice.
That is nothing that anyone should sniff at.
No. It's just hard work, you know. So.
It's hard work. You're dealing with shitheads because you're a correction officer. Your job is to deal with the worst people in society.
Yeah. Well, my supervisor back in Utah, his wife worked in the kitchen at a prison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she said prisoners wanted to work for her. They're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, why would they, you know?
Yeah. You need to make sure that if anyone decides to go into corrections, the things that you need to bear in mind is that you need to be, and this will be drilled into your head in academy, fair and consistent.
Yeah.
Those are the two main qualities that you need. Because the moment that you show someone preferential treatment, you're fucked.
Yeah.
If you're shown to be able to be pushed around, you're fucked.
Yep.
If you're consistent in, if you are an offender that behaves 9 times out of 10, follows the policies, you don't make my job hard. So, you drop this outside of your cell? Okay, here, pass it to you. No problem. Have a good one, man. And continue on.
Yeah.
If you're an absolute shithead that is constantly causing problems, yeah, I'm not going to be willing to stop and grab something for you. That's not being inconsistent. That's being fair and consistent so long as you do that to every good offender and every bad offender.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that if you have good offender 1 who you'll go and grab something that they dropped. But offender 2, who's also a good offender, you'll tell him to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
No, you're fucked again. Fair and consistent. You can tweak certain things slightly. Like I said, with the offender that doesn't cause problems versus the offender that does, you can be more willing to work with the offender that is a good offender, doesn't cause problems. No problem. So long as what you're working with is still in the bounds of the regulations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta follow those guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Make sure that you're above board. And again, if anyone does decide to become a correction officer, start being the most by-the-book son of a bitch. Because you can always relax policies. You can't really tighten them.
Yeah.
So, for your first, let's say, 6 months on the job, you do exactly what the policy book says and nothing else. No one's going to really have a right to complain. If after that 6 months, and you kind of have a feel for each of the different offenders, you start doing the, hey man, I need a kite. Can I get one? Well, now you're locked in. Tell you what, on my next round, I'll bring up a kite for you. It's something that's allowed by policy. It's not something that you have to do by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a nice gesture. And you're treating him humanly. That's a slight relax because you have all the right to go, nope, you missed your time to grab the kite. You'll have to grab it tomorrow. And you'll be good to go as long as you have that start strict by the book, relax from that point. You'll be good.
Yep. Oh.
Oh yeah, there's always jobs that it just might not be the sort of job that you want. It might not be in the area that you want. You might have to move. Fuck, I was a nighttime concierge and an EMT in Northern Virginia. I moved to fucking the Midwest, became a correction officer. Stayed in the Midwest, became a laboratory technician.
I used to work as a refinery inspector. So, and that pays good money. That was starting to pay for that was $20 an hour.
Nice. Yeah.
So it is hard work though too. Climbing those racks, carrying all your gear.
If you're having problems, look for having problems finding a job. Look for jobs that are less desirable in your area, but that still pay a good amount. They're all over the fucking place. Waste management.
Yeah, factory jobs.
Waste management pays a fuck ton. Factory jobs can be difficult to find in a lot of areas, but waste management, every area needs waste management.
Yeah.
Corrections.
Especially mechanics.
Yep. Corrections.
Yeah.
There's, I can pretty much fucking guarantee you that wherever you're living, there's a correction job in the area.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of jobs that are having problems finding people. You just need to be willing to work.
Well, not because the employment stuff, the benefits, because the shutdown makes it harder.
Yep, with the benefits skyrocketing, it made it much harder for employers to find employees, which is artificially making it harder, which is not healthy for the fucking economy. There's a difference between when it's just natural market processes that make it harder for employers to find employees. That's a good thing. That is a beautiful thing, because then what that means is that businesses will start competing for employees.
Well, for us up here, it's gonna be us opening up that changes our unemployment a lot. So, for you, it's very different because not everybody was closed. We just officially opened in my area, so, and even then, not entirely. Like, there's still some places that demand the masks and things like that. But overall, most places have opened. So that does mean that people will be hiring again. Just because
I see hiring signs everywhere now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everyone's kind of in a rush because they need to get people back on shifts and get things on the go. It's just people are still kind of iffy. And it's not because we want things to be on lockdown. It's just because we don't trust them not to take everything away again. Because they've done that so many times. And that's the thing. It's the same for employers. Like, it's not that people are going to be employing, but I don't doubt that they're going to slow that down. Like, they're going to trickle it. Just because, like, even for us, like, they're planning to hold the Stampede, which, I have mixed feelings on it. Like, I have I have hope that it goes well for them, but I feel like it's a trap. Like, I feel like they're going to run that. Our numbers are going to spike a little bit because, well, people are out having fun, whatever. And they're going to put us back down in lockdown. And I'm like, even if it spikes, I don't care. Because we've overall, I'd say, I think, I'm not sure where we're up to in terms of overall vaccinations, but that was the deal, that we got to a certain point and they opened up. I'm like, well, you know what? We've gotten to a certain point. Open up. Let us just deal with it because we need the employment. People need to start working because at some point next year, these people are going to want to tax us. Nobody has any money. Tax us with what? Money that we've borrowed?
Yep.
Like, it's really unrealistic. So
the government doesn't give a fuck unless, as long as it gets what it thinks it deserves, it doesn't give a fuck.
So like I said, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that our leader doesn't sell us out, but like it feels kind of like a trap. So a lot of us are just like not sure if we want to take the bait or not, and it's just like, so do I. You know what? Fuck it. If I don't have to wear the mask, I'm not going to. But if this place is overly claustrophobic, and maybe I will wear it. Fuck it. I don't know.
I don't wear my mask anymore, so
yeah.
Even if it's required.
So
it's for buses. If it's on a bus, yeah, sure, okay.
When you said that you're worried it's your leader possibly selling you out, are you talking about like what happened with England, where its largest microchip manufacturer was just sold to China?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's not just that. Like, it's selling out to the other side. Like, I mean, these guys are absolutely happy to do deals underneath the table. Like, hey, we'll lose this round if you give us this.
The government's always willing to do deals under the table.
Yeah.
And it's just right now we can't do it as a population. Economically, we just can't really do it.
Or let me rephrase that. An unopposed government is always willing to do deals under the table.
Yeah.
So, do they have a war with China soon?
Yeah, I think there is. Because they're arming up. Like, they are preparing for it.
Bullshit,
was it?
If we keep pulling the appeasement bullshit.
Oh, yeah. They're getting antsy. Russia's getting antsy. Iran's getting antsy.
They want it. Like, they really want it. And I just think it's, like...
Well, war is good for business sometimes, they say.
Well...
It can be.
Yeah.
It is not always.
Because is that how the America got out of the Depression for World War II?
Kind of. So, the reason why it worked for us was the rest of the world got in a war before we did. And we started going, hey, looks like you guys need some guns, right?
Yeah.
Here's some guns. Give us some money.
Yeah.
And if you're the person selling weapons, oh yeah, that is ridiculously profitable.
Yeah.
If you're one of the early parties into the war, nah, it isn't. It isn't profitable.
Makes sense.
At least not in the modern way that we wage wars. It isn't profitable.
Yeah.
If it was like a historic war, oh yeah, fuck yeah, it's profitable. Because if it's like a historic war, like it was before World War One, where, hey, we won. This land is now ours.
Yeah, you used to fight for resources.
Yep, that is insanely profitable.
Yeah.
But because effectively it was two nations decided that no, we aren't going to do that anymore, and we've been able to impose that on every other nation, those two nations being the UK and America, both decided that, yeah, we're kind of done with this we won this land's ours shit. So everyone else is also done with this we won so this land's ours shit. And if you aren't done, well, we'll jump in and you won't win.
Yeah.
So are you done? Or shall we jump in and make sure that you're done?
I think it's better that way, though, too.
Yeah, it becomes a lot more stable that way.
Yeah.
But like I said ages ago, there's the idea that, oh, it was just a matter of time before we stopped wars for conquest. No, that's fucking ridiculous that we stopped wars for conquest. From a historical point of view, it is goddamn weird.
Well, there's been battles fought for Iraq covered in shit. So.
Yeah, but it is fucking weird because if you look at what was always the governing factors on how large a empire could be, it was how well they could move information and how well they could move troops from one extent to the other. Rome did fantastically because Roman highways were the shit. They made it so that they could move troops ridiculously. They made it so that they could send messages ridiculously, and they had different setups so that they could send messages quicker. They would have runners. They would have other systems set up so that messages could be transferred down the line in rather short order.
Wasn't it one of Shakespeare's plays where they said they from one place to another place in a day?
Say again?
Wasn't Shakespeare's play that had a war that sent the troops somewhere? It only took a day, usually 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was the governing factor. And as tech developed and we got better and quicker at transferring goods, troops, and information, empires were able to expand. Like I said, Rome was a standout. Colonial England was a standout as well. They became goddamn terrifying in how quickly they could move information, troops, and goods.
Yeah.
If you look at our tech now, if not for the fact that the US and UK decided, yeah, we're done with this wars for conquest shit, it would be so much easier to do all that shit now than it ever was before.
Yeah.
We're now at a point where you could literally have global empires. The thing that's keeping global empires from being a thing is that two of the biggest powers on Earth are going, yeah, no.
Yeah. You say that.
Yeah, it's insane when you look at it. It's not like slavery. Slavery was always something that it had a limited amount of time. Once one area started developing sufficient tech.
Yeah.
Because slaves are really inefficient. They aren't good for skilled labor. So you're pretty much limited to unskilled labor with slaves. Which when the biggest worry was feeding an area. Yeah, slaves were easy way of solving that problem. The thing is that it would take an absolutely obscene number of slaves to challenge a combine harvester.
Yeah.
So slavery is completely non-viable when it comes to developed nations.
Yeah.
In undeveloped nations, it's still a thing because they don't have the tech. But the tech existing in the developed world means it's only a matter of time before it really hits the undeveloped world.
I mean, it's getting there, just slowly.
Yep. So, really, the last bastion of slavery is going to be sex slavery.
Yeah.
And even that, there's tech that's going to end up replacing sex slavery.
You got robots and real dolls.
Yeah. Robo-hoes are going to be the replacement.
You get the robo-gonorrhea, you know.
It's a matter of time. Slavery is something that was doomed to end. The slavery did have a massive negative impact as well, not just for those that were enslaved, but for the cultures that participated. And I'm not talking from some moral perspective. I'm talking from a tech perspective. Because if you could just throw more people at a problem, yes, I meant hobots. If you could just throw people at a problem, why the fuck would you put time and effort into developing the combine harvester?
Yeah.
Whereas the moment that a nation decided, okay, yeah, we aren't just going to throw people, notice how tech kind of exploded from that area?
Yep. Well, you know, the Industrial Revolution saved a lot of people, though.
Yeah.
It also caused a lot of problems, too, but you can kind of fix that somewhat.
Caused far fewer problems than it solved.
Yeah.
And the knockdowns of it solved a fuck ton of the problems that it caused.
Yep.
That's the thing. Tech is the way forward. I get pissed off anytime that I hear, we can't just discover a way out of this problem. No, you son of a bitch. That's exactly what we can do. That's exactly what we can do, and that's exactly what we have done with every problem up until this point. We have famine in this area. Okay, so we developed a tech that allowed us to grow more food.
Faster and better. You know? That's why GMOs aren't bad things. It increases crop yields. So.
Yep. GMOs are not something that anyone should be freaked out about. Unless it's someone doing like, I'm going to make a new GM rice seed. Oh, what's the quality that you're going to put in it? I'm going to make it so that it starts producing a massive amount of cyanide. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Does it have the gene already, though?
No, you'd have to slap in the gene.
Okay.
All you'd do is take the same gene that causes stone fruit to produce and...
Well, because I know I know golden rice already had the gene in it that activated it.
Yeah, there's two main different versions of GM.
Yeah.
When it comes to products, you have the activation of dormant genes, and you have the inclusion of novel genes.
Yeah.
So, golden rice, I can't remember if that was a dormant gene or if that was a novel gene, because I could have sworn it might have been novel gene and they swiped the gene from carrots.
No, that was awakened. I could be wrong, though.
It could be an awakened, but like I said, there's two different ways that you can do it, where it's either the activation or the inclusion. Both of those are GM.
Okay.
And another example is the... What is it? BT? No, it's the Fuck. No, well, it was BT endotoxin plants, right?
Not sure.
Let me quickly double check. I think that was the name of it.
Because I know broccoli's a GMO because it was bred that way, so it's cabbage and all that stuff. And see this grapes.
Yeah, it was BT endotoxin. So,
Okay.
BT endotoxin is something that is poisonous to insects. It is not poisonous to humans. It's insecticide. The thing that it does is it kind of fucks their stomachs so that their digestive juices just kind of flood them rather than being contained.
Yeah.
I repeat again, this does not do this to humans. The thing that it targets in insects is not a thing in people. So they made BT endotoxin crops, and they made a good number of them. They had BT potatoes, BT corn, BT sweet corn. This is the one that's also called Roundup Ready.
Yeah.
You had Roundup Ready soybeans, Roundup Ready corn. You had Liberty Link corn, which was another name for it.
Yeah.
And by doing that shit, they included a gene that was not already there that made it so that they were naturally insecticidal, which meant that you didn't have to spray insecticides on these crops, saving money in the long run.
And time.
And time. And also reducing a lot of nasty knockdown effects from spraying insecticides, because when you spray an insecticide, not all of it goes where you sprayed it.
Yeah.
Some of it goes elsewhere. By making it so that it's just in the fucking crop, all of it is in the fucking crop. It's done. It's dusted. No problem. It doesn't spread.
Yeah.
So, really cool thing. People got pissed off about it because it's a GM crop. Yeah, GM is not something that should be a boogeyman. But people think that GM, doesn't matter what it is, it's always, they made it so that it produces cyanide. No. Not everything done to a crop makes it a poison.
Well, they don't know their science, that's why,
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the only thought in my head. I'm supposed to that.
So you did the Meow Mix song with Nums?
Num 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 num. It sounds delicious, Num 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 num.
But yeah, the products from GM working is really fucking awesome. The shit that we can do with GM products is insane.
Yeah.
They should not scare you. They should not be, hey, oh my god, they're trying to put... No, they aren't. Shut up. Stop being goddamn nutters. If you need an explanation, you can get the explanation. You can find out what's actually happening.
Yep.
It would make no sense for them just to try to kill people. And the thing that pisses me off the most about the GM companies are evil is you guys have all heard about the Terminator seeds that sound so fucking scary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why Monsanto acquired Terminator seeds?
Nope.
Because they had just been sued by like 6 different areas that some of their GM crops had escaped their test sites and were now infecting or polluting the surrounding area. So they got the ever-living shit sued out of them for that. And they went, fine, fuck it. You don't want that to be even possible? Okay, we'll acquire Terminator seeds, which means that we'll get one planting out of all these seeds, and then they're done. They won't be able to escape. They won't be able to go anywhere else, only where we stick them. Then we can complete our experiment, make sure that our crops actually work, remove that Terminator gene, and then market it. Golden. And then people started going, they're making Terminator seeds.
I've been at it to fuck off then, you know?
Yeah, you absolute fuck. You just demanded that they come up with a way to make it impossible for any of their crops to escape their...
But that's the thing. They want any of all GMOs full stop. They don't care.
Exactly. But they'll use that as the, see, this is why. And then they'll come up with a solution for that. The solution's bad. It sounds scary. Yeah. Literally, the entire argument against Terminator seeds is it sounds scary.
T1000 seeds coming out for you, you know?
Yeah. What are they terminating?
Themselves.
Why would you make them so that they self-destruct? Are you trying to fuck over farmers? And that was another thing that was...
Who would have fuck over farmers? That's a stupid idea to do.
Yeah, and that was one of the other things that really pissed me off about the Monsanto's so fucking evil. Because they have a contract with selling their seeds that includes in the contract that anyone found growing their seeds without having bought their seeds will be found in violation of the contract, and they will pursue them legally. Do you know who put that in the contract?
The government?
No?
No.
So it's a contract between Monsanto and farmers buying Monsanto seeds.
Yeah.
Which group do you think put it in?
I'm guessing the farmers.
Yes. Do you know why?
To avoid liability.
They didn't want it to be so that their neighbors could accidentally take some of their seed stock without paying for the seeds from Monsanto, and thus get all the benefits of the GM crops with none of the cost of the GM crops. So they demanded that in the contract it be put that Monsanto would pursue these people on Monsanto's dime.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that they didn't have to worry about someone stealing their seeds and then benefiting from using their seeds in another season while they're still paying for the seeds. So Monsanto went, okay, if you fucking insist, sure, we'll do that. So they did that. Then they started following through on the contract that they signed with all the farmers, that the farmers had insisted that be added to it. And they started pursuing the instances where, yeah, it looks like this farm's growing GM crops without paying for the GM seed stock. And people started going, Monsanto's attacking farms.
You usually hear banks closing down farms. You hear Monsanto doing that, you know?
Yep. But yeah, it was just one of the other tactics that they would use in order to go after GM crops. Because they're trying to take down farms. Isn't that evil? Well, why are they trying to take them down? Just because they're evil. Is it really just because they're evil? Or is there actually a reason? No, it's just because they're evil. Don't look at any of the contracts. It's absolutely infuriating. But they kept on doing that shit. They kept on just pulling out random things and going, see, Monsanto's evil. And then they point to the past as well. And they go, well, Monsanto was one of like 20 different companies that made Agent Orange. And then Agent Orange was used in Vietnam by the federal government. And it did horrendous things. So they're evil because they made a product.
You can't control how the government used this as weapons.
Yeah. They were contracted to make this product by the federal government. They made it. The federal government then used it in ways that were counterindicated by everything known about it.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to blame the people that made you ignorant fuck. But then again, these are the same sorts of people that want to make it so that you can sue a gun manufacturer if someone goes fucking nuts and shoots up a place with one of their guns.
Or that gun owner insurance stuff.
No, it's not just that. They want to make it so that the companies that manufacture the gun.
Oh.
So if you have a Smith & Wesson, they want to make it so that if you use that Smith & Wesson to commit a crime, people can sue you, or can sue not just you, but can sue Smith & Wesson for you having purchased the gun from them and committing a crime with that gun.
Yeah. It sounds stupid.
Yeah, that would be like making it so that you could sue Tylenol because someone decided they wanted to OD.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah. But it's what people don't want to do the research since they talk about,
Yep. And it just drives me crazy because they keep on trying to push for shit that doesn't make any sense. And a good chunk of the time, the shit that they push for is shit that if you look at the actual effect of what they're advocating, it does the exact opposite of what they say they want to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to tackle corruption. Okay, how do you want to tackle corruption? Let's make everything nationalized.
But like ASU said, you just gotta pay more.
You do realize that if you nationalize everything, you have just maximized corruption, not minimized it, right? How have we done that? Because you've made it so that there's fewer people that need to be bribed in order to bribe, which means that the chance of a bribe actually having an effect is massively increased. Oh, how did I do that? Because you took out an entire horde of people that would have had to be bribed before. Fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is at that time though, thing.
Yes, it is. So, which of you wants to go first?
You know me. Have fun, because with point of living life, it ain't having fun.
Jen?
Well, I would say the best advice we've been giving all night is to never stop improving yourself. Like, never hesitate or, like, think that, because it was kind of embarrassing admitting that I was missing that credit. But, reality is a thing. So don't stop improving yourself.
Yeah.
And before I give my parting words, I'm going to, again, tell you guys that there's a scheduling change that's probably going to take effect next week. And that is that I am no longer going to be the Wednesday keeper. One of our original keepers, in fact, our very first keeper, is going to be returning to the weekly schedule, the One Ton Hammer. And he is going to be doing a different type of show with JenTMaxi and Terry DeMontis every Wednesday. They will occasionally have guests if they so decide, but for the most part, it's just going to be the three of them. Then, as you all know, Prospero has stepped down from being a scheduled weekly keeper. That does not mean that she's stepped down from being minions or even stepped down from being a backup keeper, just that she's no longer going to be the every Thursday keeper.
Yeah, she needs a break.
Yep. Due to that, the Thursday keeper spot is now going to be a wild card, just like Fridays have been for this past bit. But we are kind of looking around, seeing if anyone jumps out as a good option for bringing in as a keeper. Then we're also having a third bit of schedule change, which is I am a greedy son of a bitch when it comes to being a keeper, so there's no way in fuck that I would ever give up being a keeper and just not have a day. So Fridays will become my days. And that means that it will be the One Ton Hammer on Wednesdays, Wild Card Thursdays, and then Sanguine Fridays. With that now stated at the top and tail, I will end off on my standard. If you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night all. The zoo is closed.
Goodbye. Have fun.
Yum, 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 yum.